Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 170 of Shatter the Vain. So this is a little bit of a different episode. I'm going to skip over the news about this Samsung DeX and these skins and the teases for update 2.8. That should be coming very, very soon. We're going to do those on episode 171. Instead, on this episode, diving in with Palm by Ukrainian and Sue Generous about what GankStars is up to in New York in their accelerator, things they got planned. They're crushing it in COPS, in Paladins, in H1Z1, just doing really cool stuff. Hopefully, their Vainglory team refocuses for the fall season, and we see them start crushing it as well. I have faith. I think that will happen. So yeah, we just find out everything that they're doing, get their opinions about 5v5, maybe what it means for the game, how it's going to change, what could happen, and how is it going to affect some of these organizations currently in the Vainglory space. All right. And before we get into this episode, got to mention the Patreon page over at patreon.com/Shatter The Vain. If you can support the show, that would be awesome. But you're watching or listening to it, so I appreciate the support right there. Make sure you leave a review on iTunes because that really helps too. Gets more people finding out about the podcast. 170 episodes every week. They've been coming out. Hopefully you've been enjoying them. Hopefully you've loved all the guests. Anyone you want to see, shoot me a message on Twitter or email, shatterthevain@gmail.com. Let me know who you want to see. Who should I bring on that I haven't brought on yet? Do the podcast for everyone out there that loves this game. Let's do it. Let's get into this week's episode.
Shatter the Vain.
This is the 170th episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about Vainglory. Every week, try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can become better players together. This week, instead of going over all that news and complaining about how OP Catherine is, I have Palm by Ukrainian and Sujay joining me to do a deep dive in everything that GankStars is up to right now. Welcome, guys.
Thanks,
Hey,
man.
glad to be here.
So first, I think maybe some introductions. I feel like anyone that's familiar with Vainglory probably knows who you guys are. I've seen your faces, or at least have seen the tweets. But yeah, if you want to give a little introduction, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm CEO of GankStars. We founded a couple of years ago, and that's me.
I'm Jeff Sui Generous Chow, COO of GankStars. And I've been in the competitive scene, been on a desk if you guys have seen me, and etc. So
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm glad you guys could join me on this episode. First off, congrats on the franchise spot. I know that announcement was a long time coming, right?
A little bit.
So yeah, how'd that leading up to the franchise spot, like how'd that go? Did you think you were going to get it? I feel like, Pawn, this is probably a question for you because I believe you were the man that put in a lot of time and effort into this application and everything.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, C. Generous joined us, a month ago, I think, or 2 months. And he was with Immortals prior to that, and then Hollywood Hammers before. So the franchise spot announcement went out from SAMC, I think around time of Worlds, saying, hey, we're going to do this. And originally, I think they said they would probably select people around February timeframe and announce shortly after. So it took a bit longer. I'm not sure there were any public announcements until after London, right? June, July timeframe.
Right.
So we definitely didn't think we will get the franchise just because, we've been in Vainglory for a long time. There was a very specific process you have to go through, which I'm not sure I'm authorized to disclose, but the essence is to prove, to showcase, like, why do you deserve to have a franchise spot? And we did an application. It was 40 pages long, I believe, and that's without including all the references that we gathered from the community, from other community leaders and everybody we touched, and that we worked with so far in the last couple of years. So it was kind of gruesome. It was a lot of work. I'm glad that they said, you know what, you guys, we'll give you a pass this time.
And to add on it real quick, Brad, I actually worked with Hammers on theirs for a little bit in terms of just a draft, and then just a little bit with Immortals. And yeah, it is a pretty serious application. You have to kind of put a lot of thought into it. And that's what kind of SMC asked of all the orgs that applied. So the orgs that went through probably had some pretty solid and robust applications that SMC liked, and they became franchise orgs, which is really, really cool and really, really exciting for them.
So you've now seen basically 3 of them, so you have a little more insight in like maybe what worked for somebody and didn't work for another person, huh? Insider info.
I guess not really, but I guess you could say that.
Very cool. Well, then continuing on, then I think it was a week later or within the same week, there was also the announcement of this Verizon partnership incubator kind of thing that GankStars became part of. What is this for anyone that's not familiar with it?
We just saved up all the announcement for a week, basically. That was the goal, is to have this super week of announcements. RGA. So we were contacted by RGA, I think around May or so, where they reached out and say, hey, we're thinking of starting an accelerator and we're looking at esports. And they started talking to us and figuring out if we had the right people to be a part of, if you had the right company to be a part of that accelerator. It sort of is a startup accelerator program. It's a bit different as well. For those who don't know, a startup accelerator is there are dozens and dozens of those around the world. That it's a very compressed program, usually lasts 3 months or so, during which a venture capital company or some sort of venture related company helps you jumpstart your business, right? They essentially, it's like pouring rocket fuel into your company and hoping that you blast off.
Right.
So that's the goal of every startup accelerator. And the way, I'll let Suji sort of talk about more details, but in essence, we have a chance to network with people that we think can help us with our business. And we get a chance to work with RGA and a little bit with Verizon in terms of figuring out, what kind of services they can provide for us, what services we can provide for them, and if there are, partnership opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really cool to see them so interested in the esports space. We are the only non-tech company in the program. So they're actually really excited to work with us. It's actually really humbling and really admirable as well to see their excitement, to learn about, esports. Specifically, we're saying mobile esports is like a big thing, and then Verizon as well. They're very interested to enter the space in very meaningful ways. And they're very, cognizant of that, which is really cool. Like they understand, old media versus new media and how they can enter the space in authentic ways. And the word authentic is thrown around a lot, but This is, both companies understand like what it means to be authentic to the esports space, because they've actually done their homework, and we're here to work with them to make the best of both worlds.
Was that a reason maybe you guys or GankStars was approached because it was that grassroots and kind of authentic and part of the community and the scene as far as Vainglory goes to begin with?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, we were, there was a lot of great things going on in terms of, GankStars, the branding, and, Pone and I had a lot of discussions, and we had great discussions with them. And it's because of, the work that I wasn't there at GankStars when the work started, and that started with Pone and all the people that helped them with GankStars. So it's really the community and the organizations and everyone who helped. And they've done a really good job with their branding, their reach. If you look at Vainglory performance, et cetera, it's been a nice history over the past 2 years. And I think that has definitely helped in terms of being that grassroots, being that organization that really focuses on the community part, GSFAM OP, right? We say a lot all the time. And I think that definitely shined for sure.
And so GankStars is the only esports org involved in this like accelerator in these groups right now, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then Pon, this is probably a very familiar world for you, being from San Francisco and being in the tech space. Like, so this is probably almost comes full circle for you, huh?
Actually, since ever I moved to San Francisco, I wanted to be a part of a startup accelerator. We have a very famous one, around the corner called Y Combinator.
Right.
Companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, many others started at Y Combinator. So, that accelerator produced basically half of the products they probably use every day. It's very, it's very cool. It's very exciting. You don't, when you start your own company, the biggest challenge is finding people to help you, right? You sort of have this question, what do I do? Where do I start? How do I get money? How do I get sponsors or customers? How do I learn from people? How do I get mentors, coaches? A good startup accelerator provides you with all of the above, right? They bring in people like Y Combinator often brings in, either Bill Gates or Zuckerberg or whoever into their program and to, teach the people in the program about, different mistakes those people make or what they've learned from building their businesses. RGA is doing the same thing with their program. So it's a huge opportunity. It's like any other. It's like almost being teleported to a different planet where you're trained in certain ways and off into the world and saying, hey, now go do your thing.
Well, it's got to be a little
absorb everything like sponges.
Yeah, it's got to be a little crazy, be it from that, like, I guess, video game esports space and then being dropped into this tech accelerator that some stuff doesn't scale as well as, just write some new code kind of thing.
That's true. It's a bit intimidating sometimes because, we are the earliest stage company, I think. The earliest or second earliest stage company they ever invested in. So some of the companies in accelerator are, have millions of dollars in funding and big customers already, and and then there's us.
We're still the little guys.
So you said I think early on talking about it, like networking, like meeting the right people, building those connections. Is that the biggest hope that you guys hope to get out of this accelerator in these next few weeks, few months?
Yeah, I think networking is definitely a big part of it. We're meeting a lot of people, a lot of Fortune 100 companies. They're like giving workshops to us, which is really cool, and all the other companies involved. So we're getting a lot of kind of knowledge and insights dropped on us. But more importantly, it's really for us to think more deeply about our brand and our business and the company and where we want to take it in 5 years from now. What does it look like 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? And that's what the program is for. It's really building the foundation so that we can scale. So we're learning a lot of things, definitely working a lot, like 8 a.m. to like midnight sometimes. But honestly, I'm just talking to like Luke and Sapphire, who's here, and definitely Alex as well, or Pont. It's not really a job for us. It's passion, and I think what we're going to gain the most is the growth that we're going to get out of this, not only as a team, but for our company and everyone that's involved with us. And that includes future partners, sponsors, investors. They're going to join and jump on the GankStar's growth train, so to speak, which is really, really exciting.
Nice. So all this is happening in New York. Is GankStars, is everyone moving there? Is leaving San Francisco behind?
I am traveling back and forth, so I'd say half and half for me. But the program ends in November. So whoever is in New York will be back wherever they live after November.
Okay, cool. Because, yeah, you guys, there's also a new house or a new team space in the works, right? I know, Pon, you wrote up about like moving the team on our recent blog post on the GankStars site. And so that's kind of all happening too. While you're in New York, this is happening on the West Coast, right?
So I think I wrote about what already happened, because we had a team house in San Francisco, And then as of the beginning of the summer, we moved it to Los Angeles. So I wanted to answer sort of why that move was made. And it's, we kind of mentioned it in a blog post, but we didn't expand on it. So we'll have another announcement soon with a bit more, I guess, expanding on it. But essentially, we partnered with Ultimate, and Ultimate is a production and apparel studio that was also just launched in Los Angeles. And they're hosting multiple teams in there. It's like a complex. It's similar to Immortals, something Sue knows about. So, except in Ultimate, they host multiple teams. So they're going to host more than just one team. And right now, it's us and E United, Call of Duty team, and one more that I don't think they have announced yet. So it was a great opportunity for us.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the team there, there's been some shakeups with the team. Like I know there's new players playing in the VIS league right now and kind of testing people out, seeing who's going to be on that team or for maybe the coming season. Or is that still all in the works?
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely trying some people out. We're trying a new coach as well, and that's been working out really well for us. And, Lulu Zhu is one of our laners right now, and he's been doing really well. He's played with Xeno before, and Mac Daddy is so easy to get along with. I don't know if you guys know that already, but, they have really good communication, really good synergy. So really happy with how the team is performing and how they're doing, along with the coaches and 3 analysts. I don't know if you guys know, but Viziox, Halinator, and Name Number are amazing and have been really helpful for the team as well. Like, they were on supporting the team before the VIS match started and stuff like that. So that kind of staffing and support really, helps lift up the spirits and the team knows that we all support them. So things are going really well right now for the Vainglory team for sure.
Because I know a lot of people are probably wondering what happened to Raki. I know he's still streaming Vainglory and still around, so he's still there.
Yeah, stay tuned. Iraqi has I'll let him announce it, but he definitely has something exciting to announce for sure, and we're really happy for him. So just stay tuned.
All right, fair enough.
We're also want to bring on more. Suji mentioned a new coach, but in general, we're focusing a lot on the infrastructure for the team. Obviously, we're not very happy with how we performed this summer, not making Live Championship for the first time. So I think it was a clear sign that we need to make some changes to the team. If you look at our other games, and that's another reason why I think RGA went with GankStar as opposed to another company. We have a very successful model to expanding to other games. Critical Ops, we just won again, confirmed ourselves as world champions. Paladins, just won first place in Global Series in Europe on a PC side. They were at DreamHack Valencia earlier, got top 3. Our H1Z1 team went top 10 in their first ever tournament, beating Echofox, beating Rogue, etc. So we when we go into another game, we usually are quite successful, and that's you can be a one-trick pony sometimes and have a really great team in one game, but if you can replicate that in 3-4 titles, I think that's a thing that really attracted RGA and Verizon.
Speaking of that, all those teams are really killing it right now. Are there plans or talks to other games? Are you kind of focused on the mobile games because of this Verizon and
whatever we are in right now? We'll never.
That's it. This is it.
We're definitely looking at other games, and we've done a lot of kind of homework and research, so to speak. What makes sense? What's the right timing? Because some games the infrastructure isn't there, or the developer isn't really supporting the esports side. It could be kind of not ready to enter, and we want to make sure the games that we do enter, we commit for the long haul. And that's why mobile is definitely our main priority, because we are a mobile first organization, but we also have had success, like Pone said, in Paladins and stuff like that, which is great overall. But there are a few titles that we are looking at that we will definitely be, talking about soon, about having GankStars represent in those titles in mobile.
Yeah, stay tuned. Could be sooner than you know.
Oh, so many teases of announcements you guys got going on here.
That's how we work.
Stay tuned for that. More to come. It mentioned the live championships. I know GankStar isn't gonna be there at Sujay. Are you gonna be there on the desk, or are you fully committed,
Yes.
tied up in New York?
Yeah, of course, really busy in New York. Probably still be working on stuff while I'm there. But yes, I will be there as my last performance, so to speak, on the desk as a desk analyst.
Final
That'd
show.
be very, very fun. Yeah, my final show. So hopefully I don't bomb, right? But no, I'm super excited. It's like the best job I've ever had. You know, it's so much fun being on the desk and, you know, sharing my insights and my analysis and, you know, forecasting the weather and stuff like that. But yeah, it will be my last time on the desk, and I'm really looking forward to it. Some great teams definitely going to show up.
I want to apologize to all the fans of Generous for stealing him from the desk. I know there's a lot of fans in chat, you know, with his draft predictions and whatnot. And I'm sorry, and I hope it's worth it. Just be patient.
Yeah, Sujay, like that had to be like a interesting challenge to decide to go ahead with this role in GankStars, right? Like you've been player, you've been coach, you've been analyst, and now you're here at GankStars, and like it's been a wild ride, right? Like,
oh yeah, it definitely has. And I mean, my original plan was actually to continue being on a desk and kind of start my own business idea that I had. It's related to esports, and then this handsome man named Alex came by and kind of seduced me. And we had a lot of chats. You know, we talked at like E3 and stuff like that, had long conversations. And I knew after like one coffee chat with him was like over 4 hours long, that there's definitely something there. We kind of shared the same ideas, the same vision. We saw the same opportunities that a lot of other people didn't see. So when visions and values align, and especially the values piece too, like Pont's really, you know, selfless. He really cares about, you know, helping grow the scene. And, you know, that's something that I really value in a leader. When you think about leaders being selfless and trying to help others and bring them up to achieve their dreams or passion, whatever it may be. So I knew it just felt right. And that's why I joined GankStars. You know, it's not just about the opportunity, but I knew I would be working with a great co-founder, and we're looking to shake things up, so to speak. So
very exciting.
I think Poet's blushing right now, so it's okay.
Well, I'm glad you recognize my intentions. I just need to maybe work on my methods.
Cool. Well, a couple more Vainglory things before we wrap up here. We've got so much news about 5v5 coming. Is this something you guys are looking at or planning for at the moment, or is this so far out there that it's not even something you're thinking about right now?
I'll answer.
Yeah.
Or
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer is yes. Of course, we're very cognizant of it, and we're looking to, you know, we're thinking in terms of roster. How do we fill for it? So first, you know, I think some people wondering if it's going to be 3v3 and 5v5 at the same time. And while I do not actually have the answer to that right now, I don't know. You know, I don't have any secret information on it. I would be shocked if SMC supported both modes for competitive play at given time. So I think what may happen is you have a 3v3 competitive, and then a 5v5 is sort of casual for a while until it's balanced and ready, and then you switch. But I think for any company to support both modes, it's kind of weird because you will probably need two different teams, right? So you need a 5v5 team, and then you need a separate 3v3 team. Like in any profession period, you need to specialize, right? It's sort of as I was just watching an orchestra earlier today, and think about how every person is specialized to this instrument they're playing, right? And they might be good at multiple instruments, but when they go to play in an orchestra, they play in one thing. And similar professional player, it's really hard for you to be a jungler in 3v3 and jungler in 5v5. That's a lot of different strategies and tactics to remember. I'm sure there will always be, you know, geniuses out there that can sort of go between both. But for the majority of players, you take somebody specialized. So if they support both modes, that means teams have to keep 8 players on deck at least to play in both modes. And it just makes more sense, you know, if 5v5 is great, and if it turns out great, to just replace 3v3, at least for competitive. You know, maybe keep 3v3 as a casual, like blitz mode or other things. That would be my guess. So yeah, we're thinking about 5v5. How do we, which people to get, and a lot of players' contracts are ending in the end of this year. So it'll certainly be a very interesting thing to observe. Very stressful for us, but for others, an interesting thing to observe where the rosters end up at the beginning of next year.
Yeah, that's a good point. That you have to kind of see how 5v5 shapes up, because we have no idea what it's going to look like right now. There could be roles, like a game like Heroes of the Storm has like specialists in it that do very weird one-off things that no one in Vainglory has done yet. So you couldn't pick up a player for a competitive 5v5 team if you don't know how they're going to perform at the moment, or in what capacity. And supporting, I think, 8 players at that level is got to be stressful, and for an organization, not only on financials but just on the mental stress of the team too. Like, that's a lot of people and a lot of eggs in one basket at that point, right?
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping is, the tide that lifts all boats, and hopefully Vainglory is going to be on the biggest wave, so to speak, because we have a lot of competition coming in. There's a Paladin like MOBA shooter on mobile, which is looks pretty awesome. About Arena of Valor that's going to be coming out. So 5v5 is just a format that everyone understands in this mobile genre, that everyone plays. So when Vainglory is switching to 5v5 is going to be the inflection point. So hopefully the marketing and the way it's done is very polished with very little bugs. It's super balanced, and it's a great experience for not only the pro players, but especially the casual players, the people that are just learning Vainglory, the ones that are checking out Arena of Valor versus Vainglory versus this other game and this other game, etc. Hopefully Vainglory has the best and smoothest experience, which I think they will. And I think that's going to help support the ecosystem for us when it comes to 5 players plus a sub or 2 subs, and then all the support staff, analysts. I mean, you name it. Vainglory definitely needs to scale and grow, just like how GankStar is trying to scale and grow at the same time as well. And hopefully that's going to be able to support all the content creators and everything below the pro scene. And I think that's where we're going to start thriving. When the base thrives, the top will thrive as well.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys noticed, as you're looking through all the other esports that are happening, that a 3v3 is maybe harder for people to get into, because so many of these games they're 5s? Like, that's just kind of what happens in a lot of them. So when you see a 3v3, do players maybe turn it off or not understand, or take too long to kind of get what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on just the experience and what they're used to, but most people in the market, I mean, if you look at like China and how popular Honor of Kings or Arena of Valor is, they're building a theme park that's based on that game already. Like, they're investing in a multi-million billion-dollar theme park because that game is just so successful over there. I mean, 1 out of 7 Chinese person plays it, I think, or whatever, based on the public news that was released. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. So Vainglory can ride that wave. When people discover a better game, better experience, they're going to switch, right? That's how it happens. If you're an Android, no offense to Android, you switch to iPhone, you're like, oh, I'm going to stay in the iPhone. Not a ding or anything, but that's just how it works. So we're hoping that happens.
Not biased.
Yeah, I did work at Apple, so I'm a little biased, but yeah, it's so similar, So we may not be Vainglory may not be the biggest, right? Like how Android is the biggest, but it will be the best experience.
The biggest now, but like Sue said, Vainglory has a better engine for sure and the better touch controls. So the move to 5v5 is perhaps a way to level the playing field in terms of, tactical complexity and strategic complexity. And then, you combine that with the benefits that Vainglory has. You can have one hell of a game. Yeah, I do think Vainglory should add a bit more, casual features. But I know they know about it, they think about it. But the first thing you have to nail is the core, right, gameplay. So that's exciting. I don't think 3v3 is more complex. I think it's actually simpler. But for competitive gameplay and just pure gameplay experience, having a larger map, whether it's 5v5, 4v4, 6v6, whatever, having a larger map in general gives you more. You can do more tactical things, right? The strategy is different. I think it adds. It makes it more interesting to watch.
Right.
But like I said, it can be, whether you can do similar things as 3v3, but it's harder to expand the map. Like 4v4, I think, is the minimum. But I don't know how 4v4, maybe that's a bit too different. So 5v5 is sort of where people have standardized on. And, I think other companies have tried to solve this puzzle. And maybe they have tried 4v4 and 6v6. And they're like, 5v5 is actually where it's at. So sometimes there is no need to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you just need to make a better wheel.
That's true. Well, yeah, the 5v5 conversation is just going to keep coming up until this is released for Vainglory. So interesting to hear your guys' thoughts on it coming from the organization side. But very exciting to hear what you guys are up to. All these teases for these announcements. I can't wait to hear and share them with everyone else that's out there. So thanks for joining me, guys.
I'll give you a bit more. I know I don't want to tease you, so I'll tell you exactly what we're planning for 5v5. Exclusive for Shatter The Vain. Okay.
Oh, okay.
For next year. Essentially, we're selling all our assets, and we're getting Cloud9 players and TSM players and putting them in one team next year. It'll be. That's it. Gangsters will dominate 2018. You heard
I'm on board. Time. Sounds good. Yeah. Well, awesome. Where can people follow you on Twitter? That's probably the best place to keep up on everything you guys are doing, right?
Yes, sir.
Twitter's great. Facebook's good. Our Facebook community is huge. Over 100,000 now. So on Twitter, it's @GankStars. Very simple. On Facebook, it's @GankStars Esports. And it's gangstars.gg for the website.
Cool. Well, I'll let you guys get back to it here. You said you're working till midnight most nights, so you still got a few more hours to get in here. So we'll wrap up here.
In New York. Time to get back to work.
Yeah, get back to work. And everyone, thanks for watching this week's episode. I'll be back next week. We'll run down some news and other things that are happening around Vainglory. Take care.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Let's get this over with.